Okay, hello, I'm the normal playing guy. So this video going to be released very soon, and not too long ago we had the first hand reveal information, and it's for Ginyu, another LR Ginyu. So here we go, going to be released to us very soon. This looks pretty cool. So yeah, not too long come out on JP as well. So let's see how this unit is good. So this just been announced, well, much earlier today, but still some point today. Looks like Ginyu Force or Special Pose is a flat out 150%, but 4 key. So that would mean then that AGL Ginyu is still better. But he does have a slightly different. Well, no, it depends because I suppose in one sense he has a better leader because he is also a 200% for like Dragon Ball Seekers, or is it uh, Terrifying Conquerors, one of them. So this is Ginyu or Special Pose, which kind of incorporates into the same one. Mind you, that being said, it's still nice for 150, but again, I'm a bit disappointed in the leader skill because this guy's a 130 and he doesn't really get much better at 120. So again, okay, you could argue that the extra 20% of stats is going to mean something, but that's really about it. So it's a bit disappointing. And again, Special Pose, there are others that are not an LR that you're going to want to summon on, which are a 170% for Special Pose. We're talking, I think one of the Gammas is Special Pose. I think in Gotenks is Special Pose. So again, disappointing leader skill. So we have an entrance animation. That would most likely be this. I'm willing to bet. Who knows? So we have 3 key, 150%. Well, okay. An additional super attack for the rest of the battle and all allies. 25% to stats for 3 turns if there's a full team of Special Pose allies. If your team, not so much the guest, has an entire Ginyu Force team in essence, then you're guaranteed an additional super attack, and all allies are going to get 25%. Bear in mind that stat is like having an additional super attack for most units on that team on top of what they're going to do, which would be really nice. It's kind of like in Yamcha. He's really good with this entrance animation if all of them are the Earthlings one. Earthbred, or whichever one it is. So he potentially could be a fantastic support if, in case you have a full squad, and that's possible. And you would have an even more buff, really, than you think if you ran AGL Ginyu. So let's have a look. So normally you get 2 key 150%. So bear in mind 150 from on top of the already 150 is ridiculous. Guards all attacks and is super effective against all types when all allies are in the special pose. So you wow, they make Ginyu. I love how they make Ginyu Force as strictly just Ginyu Force, an absolute beast, because all of them are like that. Let's see. When all the allies in the same turn are special pose, so guard and guaranteed to be a super effective. Nice. Reduces damage by 7% up to 35 before attacking. Okay, so you can have 35% up to 35% damage reduction as well as guard, and a chance to crit 35% when attacking per special pose ally in the team. Wow. Special pose allies get 25% again on top of this. And then 2 turns for 2 turns with with 1 int or 1 rainbow. Jesus. An additional 50% to stats within the same turn with any type key sphere for yourself. Jesus. Int excluded, so you don't get an int. Wow, that is absolute. He is utter busted for Ginyu Force. This is ridiculous. I like how, in particular, this is special pose that can get the damage reduction for himself, because that would mean then that because if you if you don't know, here's the thing: the special pose Extreme Super Battle Road is a little bit difficult, and even the standard one is a little bit difficult. But with the likes of like AGL Ginyu, the most recent, well, the Easy A Ginyu Force LR is not too bad as well. And there are a few other Ginyu units in there, like the Rakum and Guldo, which are pretty solid. Like a full team of them, they're going to be unstoppable. But because it's special pose in particular, that would work with all the other special poses. So again, like having 25% to attack and defense for all the others, right? Because you're going to be using them because they're on the Super Battle Road, and then potentially another 25%. I mean, admittedly, that's a smaller buff on top of the already 25%, so sure. But potentially having that buff with just one, with an int or rainbow orb, just one, and it's going to be absolutely insane. Uh, and then being able to guard with damage reduction with special pose, and you could choose Go Tanks, you could choose Gamma 1 or 2 or both really, and then you can choose Great Saiyan Man, Great Saiyan Girl or Woman or whatever she's called. It's really good what they've done. Go Tanks, yeah, the other like Trunks and Go Ten might also be in there for a little bit. The LR version of them will be in there a little bit. So again, it's actually going to be the way that it's special pose would mean he is going to be very useful on such a very small area. But that perhaps that's a good trade-off, right? You're really, really good at one specific job. It just so happens that that job is more or less tailored to Ginyu Force, more or less. But the fact that they do word it as special pose gives you a bit more flex and could be good. You wouldn't really summon on him because it's a month, well, less than a month away, 3 weeks away. Because I built it from the 9th anniversary. They drop on about the 11th of July. So, are you going to drop 100 stones for a very specific unit for which even the Extreme Super Battle Road stages can be done without them, and for most part on the free to play team? No, really, this is a trap, and it's not strictly needed. That's the thing. He seems very powerful, and I'm sure his super attack animations are going to be absolutely fantastic. But this is just a bit. It's a trap. It's Admiral Akbar. This is a trap. But that being said, let's have a look what we got. So we have Gentleman, Ginyu Force, Signature Pose, Legendary Power, Respect, Loyalty, Fierce Battle. If I'm right, Loyalty is damage reduction, which would, I think, is 5% damage reduction. Stacking onto this is potentially 40% damage reduction. Signature Pose and Gentleman, you'll probably get quite often as well. It's really only the Ginyu Force that was the real kicker there. Super attack. Let's see if do we even have a super attack? Right, okay, we have a conditional based one. Okay, 12 key is the order attack decided, so we get greatly raised defense. And it looks like we have a chance to and stuns. Guaranteed stun. So we have a 50%. So we 50% defense for the turn with a guaranteed stun. Stuns the enemy. And then from 15 key, so that's 12. 15 key, so not 18. There's your 18. This one, greatly raise attack. Okay, so fair enough. You have a 50% chance to super attack transforming, and attack becomes more powerful. Granted. I wonder if there's another one. Here we go. So, yeah, so 12 key, greatly raised defense and stuns the enemy. You have a secondary effect. This is the first time we've had 3 LR super attacks with secondary effects. You have a 50% chance of transforming, and then it becomes 50% attack and attack for the turn. So you guarantee this 50% chance of attack being, greatly raised defense and attack, which is nice. Right. Okay. So let's have a look. It looks like the 15 key one is 50% to attack. But this time you have a secondary effect where you get an additional 50% to defense for the rest of the battle. Wow. So if you get your 15 key, you get your greatly raised attack for the turn. Flip a coin, your defense can be raised, period, for the rest of the battle. Does that mean every 15 key you could potentially stack that defense, period, by 50%? That's insane. Potentially. A little bit of luck in your side, that's potentially the way to go. And then the last one, massively, that's 100% to your stats. Massively raises attack and defense for one turn, raises allies' stats by 30%. That is insane. So, potentially, in the first one, basically it's 50% defense and for the turn. You can even have attack. Secondly, it's 50% attack. You have a 50% chance to stack defense by 50%. And then this one is 100% for the turn, which is nice. The first one's good because you also stun the enemy. It's a guaranteed stun, because this one doesn't really do that, so that's something. So additionals could be good, because you could go for the massively raise. You could even go for the 15 key if you're feeling a bit risky. And then your additional would stun, and it's a guaranteed stun, where applicable. So again, with the damage reduction, with the super effective against all types, with the guard as well per special pose, and it is strictly special pose, but also runs with Ginyu. You could massively raise. You could have a permanent raise, or you could go for a stun. You could stun, so you could stick him in slot 1. You could stun the enemy, and that'd be one of the however many amount of the Super Battle Road stages gone, which would be really nice. So that's pretty good. Going back one, because there was an active skill. Of course there's an active skill. Here we go. So this can be activated. Let's have a look. Activated when all allies are Ginyu Force, starting from the 3rd turn, or special pose from the 5th turn. That's not so bad. Yourself, you get 25% to stats, no key. And allies get 15% to stats, but no key. Okay. Considering that the Ginyu Force doesn't strictly need key between themselves, but special pose might, then yeah, potentially. Because I mean, like, Gotenks has Super Saiyan in there, right? So, and it's got like the Innocence. Not going to get it in there. And they share key and stats, key and attack. Additional 25% in battle, and allies get 15%. Bear in mind, allies get 25%. You get an additional 25% off that, and then you can get an additional 15% off that new one. So they're going to be looking pretty good. Yourself, you could give yourself a 50% buff for the turn. Your super attack effect can potentially give you another stack of 50%. And that could be really good. So yeah, that's it. And I think that's going to be it, isn't it? And yeah, so all in, it's a pretty bizarre unit. I like it. It's just a no, really, in terms of summoning, because again, it's just the biggest trap. This time last year, they had AGLLR Boo. Admittedly, he was a better option because he's just, well, he's a hyper unit for sure. He's utterly busted and is still to this day. And of course, he fits on a team. There's more teams that he can work on, right? Which is good. So with these, no. I mean, if they did it like last time, where they're discounted, you get a couple of like 35, 40, or 45, something like that, then you'll find then that potentially for 35 stones, which really isn't a lot, someone's going to pull these guys, and they're going to be. But you'll pull these guys, you'll feel real good about yourself, but then you'll go, well, I won't use them. I just wouldn't use them. They're good for a very specific thing. Are you going to summon hundreds of stones potentially? Are you going to use your, I don't know, yellow coins red coins, whatever, for when they come back around for Extreme Super Battle Road? Really? Depends. Depends on how struggling you are with that, really. But anyway, there we go. That's going to be it for this video. It's coming out anytime soon. It's worth doing this, right? So yeah. So don't summon, please don't, please just don't. The banner will just be full of Planet Namek Saga stuff, and even if they just slap in random LRs, it's just to trap you. There are better value banners coming up. Arguably, you could even say, I'm going to skip the 9th anniversary and go for the part 2, which is, I believe, Gohan and Gammas. And is it Cell Max? I think. So that might be something to go for as well. Other than that, yeah, that's it. So it is a fun unit. Don't get me wrong, and potentially useful, but that's basically it. Let me know what you think. If you like it, do you play JP? And I presume this is already out for them. Is he any good? Is he as good really as it is? I mean, I presume so. We're talking ninth era. I suppose for JP, actually, it's 10th era, really, isn't it? Think about that. So potentially is really good. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I've been the normal playing guy, and you have been a lovely, lovely audience. And I'll see you next time. Thank you, and bye bye.